Hi, today we are going to learn how to take the skill that we learned last time, which was factoring trinomials, and we're going to use that factoring skill to solve equations with a quadratic in it or a squared term. Okay, so there's the general quadratic equation or quadratic standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And again, for something to be quadratic, it just means that it has that squared term in it right there. Okay, we're going to use something called the zero product property. All the zero product property means is that if you multiply 2 or 3 things together and you get an answer of 0, it means that something had to be 0 originally. You can't get a product of 0 unless you had a factor of 0. Okay, so we're going to make factors out of these quadratic equations like we did in the previous section where we learned how to make those 2 parenthesis things or factors. And each factor is going to be able to be set to 0. And then they're just really easy little equations. So the first thing we do is we make sure the equation is set equal to 0. We factor everything completely, and that means finding GCFs. Don't forget about GCFs. They're very important. Once we have all of our factors, we're going to use the zero product property by taking each factor or each set of parentheses and setting them each equal to 0. We're going to have more than one equation, and we're going to solve each, and each of those is going to be an answer to our equation. So let's start. The first example made it real easy for you. They gave you the 2 factors. You don't have to factor because they gave it to you. So now each one of these factors is going to become an equation that's equal to 0. 2y minus 3 equals 0. And I'm going to solve that. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. 2y equals 3. And then I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides. So y is equal to 3 over 2, 3 halves. And you don't have to turn that into a decimal for me. You can leave it just like that. Okay. We have another answer, though. We have y plus 1 that we have to make an equation. Y plus 1 could equal 0. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And y equals negative 1. So your answers here are 3 over 2 and negative 1. And you're going to see when you do your My Math Lab work, they're going to put the answer like this. They're going to say negative 1, comma, 3 over 2, and they're going to use these funny brackets. Okay. X squared minus 3x equals 4. So it's not equal to 0. So that's the first thing that we need to do. So we're going to have to subtract 4 from both sides of this equation. So I end up with x squared minus 3x equals 0. Oops, I skipped a step there, huh? I forgot my minus 4. Equals 0. Okay, and now I can make my 2 factors. Okay, there's no GCF here. I have a coefficient of 1. Because I have a coefficient of 1 there, that means that I can just say what 2 numbers multiply to negative 4 and add to negative 3. Well, it's going to be negative 4 and 1. So I get x minus 4, x plus 1, because negative 4 times positive 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 and 1 multiply to negative 4. Negative 4 and 1 add to negative 3. Okay, now I can make my 2 equations. X minus 4 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. When I solve those, x is a positive 4 or x is a negative 1. And again, in My Math Lab, you're probably going to see these brackets and the answer written like this. Okay, next example. 2x squared plus 30 equals negative 16x. So the first thing I need to do is I need to add that 16x to both sides. So what I end up with is 2x squared plus 16x plus 30 equals 0. So now the next step is, do we have a GCF? We do. We have a GCF of 2. So I'm going to take that 2 out. And I'm left x squared plus 8x plus 15 equals 0. So now I need to find my factors for x squared plus 8x plus 15. Well, two numbers that multiply to 15 and add to positive 8 are 3 and 5. So x plus 3, x plus 5. So now I'm ready to solve. Okay, so I have 3 factors here. I have 2, x plus 3, and x plus 5. It doesn't make sense to make 2 equal to 0 because that's not true. So the 2 doesn't even really matter here. But the other 2 factors do. So I have x plus 3 equals 0 or x plus 5 equals 0. So my answer to this one is negative 5 and negative 3. Okay, next problem. X squared equals 4x. So the first step is to get this set equal to 0. X squared minus 4x equals 0. And all I did was take 4x and subtract it from both sides. Okay, so now I need to look for a GCF. It has a GCF, x. So I'm going to take an x out, and I've got x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so now I say x could equal 0 or x minus 4 could equal 0. So x equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. Okay, so my answer to this one is that x can equal 0 or positive 4. Whoa, that's crazy. Y times 2y plus 5 equals 42. Okay. Well, the first thing we have to do is get this set equal to 0. So I'm going to move that 42. I'm going to take this 42 and I'm going to move it to the other side by subtracting. So I get y times 2y plus 5 minus 42 equals 0. The next thing I'm going to do is clean this up a little, and I'm going to distribute. So I get 2y squared plus 5y equals, minus 42 equals 0. Okay. So all I did was clean that up to get it set equal to 0. So now I'm going to go ahead and factor it. Okay. So I look for a GCF. There is no GCF between 2, 5, and 42. All 3 terms don't have a variable, so I have to do my AC method here. My AC method says take A times C, so 2 times negative 42, and that's going to give me negative 84. I need 2 factors of that when I add them together, I get 5. So you're going to list all your factors and go through all that, and you're going to end up finding out that 12 and negative 7 are your 2 factors. So now I can rewrite this. 2y squared plus 12y minus 7y minus 42. So now we split that. Now we take our GCF, 2y left with y plus 6. We take our GCF, negative 7, y plus 6. Okay, so our first factor is y plus 6. Our second factor is 2y minus 7. And both of those are equal to 0. So now I can make my two equations. Y plus 6 equals 0. And 2y minus 7 equals 0. So our answer to this one is going to be that y could be negative 6 or positive 7 over 2.